All right, we got the notification. We're being live streamed. Love that. All right, well, it is 6:02, and I would love to call the March meeting of the Celebrate Wildwood Commission to order. Can we please have the roll? Kristen,
Commissioner Slaughter,
present.
Commissioner Jailing,
Present.
Commissioner Silverman,
Present.
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Lind,
Here.
Commissioner Siebert, Council Liaison Edens,
Here.
and myself. And we have a quorum.
Amazing. Well, thanks everyone for being here on the heels of a reschedule. And I also know that it's Rockwood's spring break. So I know we have a lot of folks who have Rockwood kiddos either themselves or grandkids or nieces and nephews. So thanks for taking time to be with us tonight. Love to approve the minutes from the February 6th meeting. If anyone had any notes or anything that need to be updated, if not, I would love a motion.
I motion.
Thank you, Ms. Silverman. A second?
A second.
Perfect. Thanks, Ms. Jailing. And then all in favor?
Aye.
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 I mean, Debbie might be frozen, but we should be good without her vote. But just to note that, Kristen, that looks like she was frozen and wasn't able to vote. All right, opening up to a public forum, I believe is next on the agenda. Am I correct? Yep, public comment. Do we have anyone in the waiting room, Joe?
No, ma'am. So no one as an attendee. So, and since it's Zoom only tonight, that's the only thing we have to look at.
Great. Well, then I will turn it over to you for our discussion for the 2025 Celebrate Wildwood event.
So Miss Lynn just dropped off. I'll keep an eye open for her. Hopefully she'll be back on to the Zoom meeting. But we still have a quorum without her, so that's the good news. Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair and members of the commission. The first item relates to our revenue sources and sponsorships for funding the 2025 event. The first of those items I want to identify is the sponsorship and promotional banners. At our last meeting, Ms. Chansky and Ms. Nager had prepared several options of the new banner that incorporated the 30th anniversary logo, and they were presented to the commission members for comments. There was a bit of difference of opinion on some of the options, and ultimately there was feedback on certain changes they would like, the commission members would like to see. What the department promised is once we incorporated all of those components, we would send it out via email and ask for direction. And we got that. So tonight, as part of what you're seeing, is the collective input from the commission members taken by the Department of Planning and Parks, incorporated into the banners. And in principle, these are the banner designs for the 30th anniversary the commission supported. And so tonight we're presenting them to you for consideration and action. If the action is favorable on the designs that are before you tonight for consideration, this is what we'll get started with and start using them to promote the sponsorships and the other things that we're doing for the 30th anniversary. So that's the first item. And Madam Chair, do you want to discuss that, or would you like me to go on to the other items and then we could do it at the end?
I'm worried that that conversation might cannibalize our entire meeting. So maybe if we could review all at the end so we can make sure to get through all of our action items and have plenty of time to discuss at the end. Lauren, thoughts? Co-chair?
Yep, I would go ahead and approve the banners and maybe leave the beer towards the end if it's not a for action.
Yep.
Or we can even circle back. Yeah. Or we could also take a bunch of motions en masse. That's always fun, but it gets a little confusing. We do that a lot at council. It's a hoot.
Well, I'll proceed forward. I'm going to go to the sale of Wildwood gear, and then we can come back to the revenue sharing component. So, as was also discussed at our last meeting, the thought was that maybe that we would have some sale items for the 30th anniversary Wildwood gear available at the event. In the past, at least for the last several years, we've not had anything of Wildwood gear available for sale. We had offered as part of the scavenger hunt a t-shirt. And for the most part, you had to complete the scavenger hunt to get that. And then we also advertised the available item that would be offered as part of the the Shivering Shadows 7K run. We showed that. We had entry forms, etc. Again, we got a lot of ask at the city tent. Do you have anything you're selling? Can we buy one of the scavenger hunt shirts, etc., etc.? And we would say no. So again, the commission endorsed having some items available for sale at the event. And there is a company called Teespring that we offer all year round the availability of Wildwood gear. And they've already gotten the 30-year anniversary logo and incorporated into some of the items. So at the end of the memorandum, there is visuals of the different items that are available. There's a water bottle, a classic hoodie pullover in different colors, the die-cut sticker, the sweatshirts, t-shirts, all types of different things, a tote bag. Again, just a litany of things that are available. And then we did provide you just a few of the items and their cost. And so from that perspective, what do you all think? What would you like to offer? And from that perspective, we'll make sure that we have at least an ample supply. And if it's an expensive item, we'll have different sizes. So maybe people can then try it on, tell us what they want, and they can either order it themselves or we can help them. So that's the Wildwood gear.
Yeah, they're all cute.
Good. Glad you like them.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts if that's okay, Chair Slaughter.
Go for it.
I am so excited about the ornaments because I also think that they would sell at the holiday tree lighting event and at the winter's market as well. So I feel like even if we don't sell a ton because the price point looked really good for those, maybe because sometimes when it's hot out, people are not interested in thinking ahead to the winter. But I don't think it's a bad investment to purchase those because we have other events that we could sell them at. And I think because if it's low price and people don't want to buy 4 other things, they're going to say, I don't want to pay $8 in shipping for, you know, a $10 item. And maybe that won't generate a sale, whereas you'd be more likely to sell it in person. And I know that I would buy one, and I did see that it was only like a 2-color or 1-color option. And I think maybe just the traditional Wildwood logo would be the best thing for that. And then we could always come up with another design another year so that people go back and buy more if it really works out. Like we could even have one specific just to the tree lighting every year and make it like a collector's item. Every year there's a different really cool tree lighting one.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun. I feel like the water bottles would also sell pretty well.
Yeah.
And you know, the hats and t-shirts, especially at events. The stickers, I still wish there was like a straight pen, and I do think the tote bags would sell at our farmers market.
That was my thought too, was that I think that that can transcend. I think that my only note on the apparel is I would suggest, for the sake of financial responsibility, to do unisex. I love a women's cut shirt more, I really do. But with, you know, with minimums and stuff like that, like I feel like we can get into the weeds a little bit. And so if they sell like hotcakes and we want to expand, but I think considering it's kind of our first foyer at this particular event, I would lean towards doing 2 styles in a unisex, just because I think that those, and again, I say that as someone who loves a ladies cut shirt, and every time I see one, I get excited, but just trying to be financially responsible.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I probably get a lot of unisex shirts from events, like runs or other things, so I'd probably be less likely to buy it because if it was just a unisex. But I also have other city gear. So for me, it would not generate a sale. But I get where you're coming from on that financially. So I don't know if there's a way to test it with like a low amount, or like the tank tops, I don't think would work well and necessarily in unisex for women. 'Cause
Agreed.
the men's tend to be cut a lot lower, and that's just
So
not
much
great.
lower.
Yeah. Whereas I would buy probably the women's tank top if it was available.
I think these are all really great. I think they're so fun. I really want that crew neck, the blue one. I would totally wear that sweatshirt all the time. So great choices, everyone. Thank you.
I guess I think the ornament, I like an ornament that has specific year, and I'd like it to be a 30th anniversary ornament, but that's my personal choice. Because it's kind of a special year, and
Right.
and we'd only have them available for this, and this year, and then the next we could have a Wildwood ornament anytime. So, but that's me.
Oh, I agree too. Would it work in just one? Because it says 2 collar imprint.
I can't even pull those up. I don't even know how to pull those up. I've been trying to. I got my agendas and I looked on there, but I must have missed where I'm supposed to.
It would, I mean,
Page
I just,
23.
yeah, I don't know that there would be a great way to like white invert that because the logo is so like detailed, but also there are question is the person that you're working with for the promo products, are you working directly with the company or are you working with a distributor? I'm putting my trade show hat Ashley on for a second. Because there's a ton of places that you can get ornaments, and we can definitely find ones that aren't one color, but they might not be like glass blown, So I think you might end up with something that doesn't feel as handmade, but can accommodate the full logo. Stacy.
Madam Chair, I'll have to defer to Kristen. She kind of did the heavy lifting in terms of the research. But
Oh, sorry, Joe.
no, please.
Ashley, if you have a distributor, please send that over. But the person we worked with, I actually asked for glass balls for these. She had other options where you could do more, but I just went with the traditional
Glass, yeah. Yep. The difference is, and we can talk offline, but the difference is, so like, if you use like for imprint, like they're a distributor. And so, or you can work directly with the manufacturer. So if you have somebody who's putting I'm glad to know there are other options. If you're, go ahead, Lauren.
I was going to say, I'm pro multiple options of ornaments. I've been waiting for this for years. This makes my heart sing. I am so excited. I believe in the glass one in colors with the logo. I love the idea. So here's how we could do it. And I was just going off of, I've had stuff custom printed at like Zoe's Attic in Webster Grove. So that's just an example. I know they do ornaments and they basically can screen print on like a metal. There's wood options. But they could do like a metal disc and we could put the full logo on that side for the 30th anniversary and get a collar and then sell that one. That way we could still have the glass options that are printed in less collars that are also neat too. So I just know they're a local company and they do have ornaments. I've had like dish towels and stuff like that printed, but I don't know what their bulk price would be.
And I know I bought at the Lafayette Craft Fair. I bought the Lafayette ornament because all my kids went to Lafayette. So I bought the gold ornament with the black Lafayette on it, black Lancer on it. So I know, I mean, you don't have to go with a hand blown glass ornament. You could do a less expensive ornament or there's different kinds of ornaments, but I don't know. I know I've seen that they've had Marquette, they had Lafayette, they have all kinds of the different, and they're not, I don't know, maybe they're $15. I don't even know. I think that's all they were. So,
Miss Edens, what was the name of that company in Webster Groves?
It's called Zoe's Attic.
Okay.
And I'm looking at their website right now. I probably can't. There's not a chat box to put the print in. So I don't know. I know they probably have contracts for other local stuff and could could do it in bulk, because you can order bulk t-shirts from them.
We'll
Um,
contact them and see what their response is to our request, and we can share the 30th anniversary logo and see if they can do it.
Yeah, the nice thing is they do have a graphic designer in studio, which is, so you can go, like, I've been in person before and they'll just sit there with you as you order things and then move it around. So so that's nice, because whereas, a big company where you're just uploading the picture, you don't have somebody that can change things around, but they do have a graphic design person in-house that you can talk to. And sometimes it's easier than emailing back and forth. It just depends. But I had a gift I did. It was an apron and some dish towels that were printed with my grandmother's handwriting and my mom's and my great aunt's and recipes. And then with the full collar as well for the design on the old recipe cards. And there wasn't a limit on how many shades or anything like that. It was still included.
Well, Ms. Chansky's shaking her head, so we'll give a call and see how their response is. So from my perspective, there seems to be consensus on the ornaments, the ball caps or hats, water bottles, the tote bag, shopping bag kind
I
of thing.
still love the glass ones too. I want all the,
Yeah.
love all the,
Okay,
I love all the ornaments.
all right.
So what about a t-shirt or sweatshirt? My computer keeps going off. It's kicked me off 3 times. That's why you see me and sometimes you don't.
Well, you're being persistent, so we appreciate that. You're coming back.
All for the quorum.
Well, and this is just my opinion, and I know Miss Eden's mentioned something else, I think, but I appreciate unisex sizing, but when we do an event, we try to offer both men's and women's.
Right.
So again, I think we should have some t-shirts. They're always popular, and I think we ought to have a couple of sweatshirts as well,
I
because
agree.
it's
I
at the
love
end
the
of September and we're going into fall, so I think people will
Right.
wear them.
Sounds good.
Always have to have a good sweatshirt.
Yep.
Yep.
I think crew necks sell better than hoodies because older people
Sure.
don't always like
I
like
feel like you're looking at me.
No, they're very,
No, I'm talking
very
about-
trendy right now.
Yeah,
yeah, so
Karen.
I'm a crew neck girl with sweatshirts, but I see you have a long sleeve t-shirt there also.
Okay.
There's a lot to pick from.
Yeah, there is.
Well, with the direction you've provided, we'll narrow the kind of the images down to what generally we've described, and then we can talk color at the next meeting if you like.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So the last item I have is the revenue sharing component. And again, I want to thank Ms. Jansky and Ms. Nager for doing a lot of the research. So we did contact other locales in the vicinity of Wildwood and for the most part asked them how they handle revenue sharing. And without exception, they do revenue sharing on liquor sales. It appears they do not do revenue sharing on any of the other vendors. And I think that's consistent with what we've done in the past as well. And consistent with the fear I have that if we ask for too much, we'll probably not get the vendors we want and the number of vendors we want. So all of them do some kind of revenue sharing, so to speak, with liquor. Now, saying that, of the ones we contacted, some do not do revenue sharing, meaning they just they say no, they basically don't do it. That being Wentzville, Sunset Hills, Ellisville, and Eureka. Now, Eureka charges a greater amount for a flat fee to participate, and that may be a solution to it as well. And the others, Manchester, it's a 40% split. Eureka, I mentioned already. The Rotary with Baldwin, it's a 50-50 after expenses. And then again, the flat fee. So There was no clear, I would say it was a 50-50. And obviously it's just beer and liquor sales. And so, as I say, it's kind of up to you how you'd like to proceed.
Well, our liquor, the people do sell liquor and wine. We don't get anything right now. The only one we're getting anything from is the beer company. And we really haven't even got that, I don't think. Have we
Um,
gotten, we haven't got anything from Pond yet this year?
Chris?
No, we
Stacy?
haven't gotten anything. I guess since they've changed hands, they have new finance people
we-
in there. So I just talked to Deanna, I think is her name, the other day.
Yeah.
And reminded her, and she's like, I can't believe you haven't gotten anything yet. I'll ask again. But she said with a transition, that might be why.
Oh.
So we have been in contact more than one time. So we will see.
So, Ms. Jelling, you're correct. We do have, besides Pond Athletic Association, the Lions Club has recently, the last couple of years, sold wine. And then we had a couple of other, like, let's say local.
Francie's, I think.
Yep. And then we had a couple of the microbreweries or that type of sale. So I think we had a handful of beer and alcohol vendors.
I guess my feeling is that we have so few and we're only we are an only 1 day festival. And they have to, I think it's hard for them to make money, I think, just on a 1 day thing personally, but that's my.
Can I step in here and just ask a question? Is this something then that they would be accustomed to as far as revenue sharing? If they, do other,
It's,
It would appear to be, Miss Silverman, that most other festivals, at least the four or so we mentioned, they do some level of revenue sharing.
okay,
I actually like the idea of increasing the rate to them.
yeah,
I do
Instead
too.
of-
I agree.
that's
Um,
simple.
Right. I just feel like we have to, somehow it's got to be a give and take. I feel like if we just ask for a percentage of their sales, it might sound a little selfish, I guess. And I don't
How
want
do
to,
we
I don't want to
know-
lose
how do we know
anybody.
what their sales are even? We don't even know what the sales are at the beer
Right.
for the beer vendor. We have no idea. I mean, they could say they're giving us a percentage. We don't know. We don't have
Wouldn't know.
proof. We don't ask for any paperwork. I don't check that. What would it, but have we already put the prices out for this year for those vendors? Do we want to change it now and ask them for more money? I don't know if that's fair either.
Right.
We have already opened registration. And we already have some
Hmm.
alcohol vendors registered. So Pond has registered. Clancy's has registered. Chillax has registered.
I think we do it for next year.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, the one thing that I wanted to stay away from, I can't remember which municipality did it, but it was, they had what they felt was a profitable experience and they sold it themselves, but we don't have the staff or the manpower for that. I don't want to saddle the city with that sales. So that's the only thing I feel really strongly about. Maybe if we had a whole lot of volunteers, but we don't have places to buy things and bulk store things. I just feel very strongly that's not something we want to take on unless staff feels differently. So I'd rather alert people ahead of time, hey, we're going to be raising the rates next year and expect that.
Sounds good to me.
Me too.
So I make a motion that we keep our alcohol sales the same as we are doing it right now as this year, and then look into it next year if you want to change the policy.
And I second that.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. I think that's a very fair and approach to it. And alcohol sales generally are the most expensive thing that's available at the food court area during Celebrate Wildwood. So I think increasing the fee to them I think it's upfront, and then they can adjust their prices as they come into the event. So
Yeah.
And it may not need to be a large increase. And, we could do, if we want to do a gradual thing over the years,
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
So thank you. I think that's a fair approach. I appreciate your feedback.
Do you need a formal motion to approve the banners?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, if, as I said, we took your input, we modified it, we sent back out to all of you via email, and the responses we got back is what you're seeing.
I'm happy with it.
Great. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Lauren.
Motion.
Great. A second from Ms. Silverman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. They look great. Thanks, guys. I know that was a lot of work.
Thank you.
All right, on to components of the 2025 event.
Well, the first item deals with the Memorial Brick Program, and Chris is going to present that tonight. So thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
So, hi. So at the February meeting, the commission approved proceeding with the brick paver program. So we have done a little bit more research on how we can go about that for the Village Green. Our current provider is Gift Bricks, and that is who we've based everything off on tonight. We've had experience with them for years, working with them for Old Pond Schools brick programs. So the different thing about them is they do offer a 4x8, they offer an 8x8, and they offer an 8x16. Whereas the other providers that I looked into did not offer an 8x16. It's very hard to find the 8x16 size. And we do offer that at Old Pond School. So there is a little chart here that shows you the sizes, how many lines and characters we can have with each, cost, proof, shipping, installation, and the total, along with our current sale cost. We're currently selling the 4x8s at Old Pond School for $50, and we're selling the 8x16s for $200. And as you can see, we're not really profiting anything from either of these sales. It's a memorial program, so that's our intent, is to have that. But with all these costs, we're kind of coming to you with, here's where we're at, and we might talk about a new selling cost for each of these for the Village Green. So
Is this strictly a memorial?
Yeah, I thought we decided not to call it memorial.
Right.
it's not strictly a memorial at all.
Okay.
Commemorative brick paver program, but I know in there you'll see memorial.
Yeah.
I gotta take myself out of that, because when people do trees and stuff, sometimes it's not a memorial tree. It's just a tree honoring somebody. So
Right.
gotta retrain my brain.
Mm.
I did look into other municipalities and organizations around the St. Louis area to see what their programs were. It's all over the board on what people charge. But generally from 100 to 350 for the smaller 4x8 and 200 to 1350 for an 8x8 paver. So I didn't find a municipality. There might be one out there that sells an 8x16, but I couldn't find anything right off the bat. So, as I said, we do think the pricing will need to be increased to cover the cost. But the good thing about Gift Bricks is they offer a website, a personalized website for your sales. And they build this website for us. It's nothing fancy. You'll see an example in here. But it's so helpful. Anyone can go online, they fill out the form. They're restricted to the certain number of characters and lines that are available on the brick they choose. And the nice thing is then we internally can review the bricks, make sure there's nothing crazy on the bricks, nothing inappropriate, before they are produced. So we can promote this website. They go on, they can fill everything out, pay for it online, we approve, and then we hit a submit button for gift bricks to do it. And if we really promote it and get a nice, good amount in the beginning, it's really going to save with shipping and things like that. So the different thing, another thing, Old Pond School is using a discontinued color, so we'd have to choose a new color for Village Green. But there are various colors, and that's shown on this literature here that was provided. I think that's all I have, and we're asking for the commission members to comment and provide input on anything that may be added, changed, or eliminated in this program.
What color did Pond School have?
They had a
Was it-
discontinued color. It was kind of a reddish charcoal mix.
Okay,
So you won't even see it on here, but
sure, okay.
So I thought it would be, you're not saying it would be a fundraiser for this?
it depends on what the cost is, what you propose the selling cost is for
Okay.
everything. So it could be.
And would we have a table at the celebration with samples? Because I think if people see it, I think say, oh, just go to the website, I think you'll lose a sale. I think if you have people right there that can fill out their paperwork and write a check and give it to us, I think I don't know, I think it might be. And then we could put it in, I guess we could submit it.
Absolutely. We absolutely
think-
could. They will provide us, gift bricks will provide us with samples for 4x8 and an 8x8. They will give us a sample. So we would be able to have that anywhere after we place the order. So even at our concerts or something like that, if we've got those,
Yeah.
we can put it out
But
there.
yeah, I really think we have the stuff there that really, I think it helps with the sale personally. So people say, I'll do it at home, but they don't go home and do it. And
Right.
like,
You forget. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the less they have to do, the easier it'll be to make the sales.
Agreed.
so do they pay shipping? Does each individual person pay the shipping, or do we do it as one big group?
They would pay online the fee.
Okay,
Yes. And then gift brick comes back and charges us for whatever we order, whatever that bulk order is.
okay.
I kind of think we need to just, I think when they look and say, oh my gosh, here's the cost, then $10 more for the proof and then shipping. I think we just need to have a total thing,
A
say,
total price, yeah.
Mhm.
I think all that, I don't think we should do all
No.
that. So I would say, a 4x4 is going to cost $200, say,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just making a guess. And then the 8x8 is going to be $250. And then the 8x16 is $300. And just have it one set price instead of them going on.
All the little, yeah,
That's-
Add-ons.
the little
We do-
particulars.
yeah. We have it that right now. That's how Old Pond School is. Here's your set price. That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
We call it the all-in number.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we need to break it down like that for everything. So
Right.
Are we doing the laser blasted bricks?
I believe that is what we currently do.
Great. I just want to make sure I was reading the right doc.
Any thoughts on color?
Oh, I think that I like the ones that are mixed, the like Admiral Range, the Claret, I don't know that I'm allowed to share my screen, but it's on page 8 of the memorandum. I like the
here we
ones
go.
that are multicolored. I don't know why.
is that the red stuff with the first square?
Yeah, the first one. I like
I was just looking at on the page where they had with words already on them and stuff.
Yeah. That's one I was looking. I like the ones that are just like different colored. I think when they're all one, here's what it is. It's because I redid the pavers on my entryway into my house, and trying to add pavers when they're like different years old. I feel like you can tell that they're different colors. So when they come as like different colors, like I feel like it matches because, you know, age will change the color of the Admiral Red in the sun. And then once you put in new colors, I feel like this was my first sunny day in March trauma, was going and trying to find pavers that match my entryway because it's one color.
So what do you like, the Admiral full range?
I like the Emerald full range, but I would want to say that, like, as someone who's not fully in the weeds on all aspects of Village Green, like I want to be sure that, whatever, the only thing I really know about Village Green is the cabin, and obviously that is its own thing, but like is there any signage or anything that's a
There's
specific
gonna be
color?
restrooms. What are they gonna be? What color are
Yeah,
they?
I was gonna say, yeah, to match those, just so.
Yeah, regimental is pretty,
I like that one too.
the full range. Yeah, as long as it's not a bunch of solid gray. I think it's just
Yeah,
super
that's
depressing.
blah.
Yeah, we can do better than all gray.
But I think the regimental will look good since the brick wall outside of City Hall is that red. I feel like that'll tie in the red brick with the regimental full range.
Yeah, I can't tell. So the Admiral full range to me looks like it has more orange in it. But when I look at the regimental red, the red brick itself under regimental looks more orange to me. So that's why I
Yeah.
can't really tell. But I think both are good options.
What are you saying, Admiral full range and
In the
Regimental.
regimental.
Yeah. Maybe they'll have a sample.
Yeah,
In person.
we'll ask for samples, and if those are the two colors that's preferred by the commission, we'll ask for a sample, one of each, so to speak.
Yeah, I think those are the
That's
perfect.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to take it out and look at against the city hall and back where we are gonna be, so that we can see how it looks in the daylight and stuff. I don't know. I thought they tell you to do when you're picking colors. I know that.
Right.
Okay, so the samples on the Admiral full range and the regimental full range?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
And Chris, what's the timeline for those generally?
They're not too bad. I think we could have them by yeah, okay, so our next meeting is the 2nd. I don't know if we'll have them by then, but I could
Well,
see what I could do.
with the commission's permission, we'll have them no later than the May meeting.
Okay.
Great.
If we can have them for April, we'll do our best, but I don't want to make that commitment, disappoint you all.
Well, if you need somebody to go pick it up, I could go pick it up.
Well, thank you, ma'am. And just to kind of summarize, we like the larger pavers because sometimes the families like to have all the names of their children, grandparents, etc. So we were thinking of offering all three sizes.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think the variety on the floor looks great too when you do all the different sizes.
Okay.
On the ground, not floor, but on the ground.
And I guess the big question is, as Chris has explained, there is a certain expense to them. How much money do we want to make? Is it 10% of the cost? Is it 20%, 50%?
It looks like, I mean, again, I don't know that this is the all-in cost, but it looks like the cost of the brick is somewhere around 25. And if you nickel and dime and say shipping and everything costs all in is 40, I don't think that I would pay $50 for a brick. When you buy a brick at the member price for buying a brick at the zoo is $500. So I think $50 is a steal. Yeah.
I think I paid way more than that for the blues brick downtown.
That's what I'm saying. Like the bricks are very, and so, but I also think being reasonable and like, But I
How
think if
about,
we
this might be a little silly, but how about we start out, it's a 10%. First time we offered 10% and it might be, it will go up to 20%. We make, right away, we could, I think
Founders Bricks,
Founders Bricks, 30th anniversary. This is the price for 30th anniversary, and after this, the price will be, and it may go up anyway because it might be,
They
honestly,
increase their prices.
so I would say sell it as a special. It may not change, but we could just,
Mm.
as a marketing thing, you have a special the first year. I don't want to make a lot of money on it, but I want to make something on it. I don't want to.
right, agreed.
With the permission of the commission, we'll put together some numbers we think are fair and then present them to you when we have the proofs. And then we can tie it all up at one time.
That sounds
That's
good.
good.
Okay, thank you. Like I say, I don't think, again, my opinion is that if we charge too much, we'll get a few sales, but I think the success would be in getting a lot of people to purchase them. So we
Right.
can create something nice over in Village Green.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Lots of bricks.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, so we have to do a little homework. Hopefully, maybe April, but for sure in May, we'll have some proofs. We'll meet in person down in the community room, so you can kind of take a look. We can walk them outside and see how they compare to some of the other materials around City Hall, and then kind of go from there.
Good.
Good.
Chris, anything else you wanted?
Think so. I will just say this though, we do have a nice bulk amount of bricks, then maybe the installation will be a little bit less because
Mhm.
he can he can install a few of them at a time instead of one by one. So that may help us a little bit too.
Sure.
And what if we have something that like, buy the bricks now and hopefully they'll be installed before the Christmas lighting, so they have something to look forward to. Is that enough time, August to December? I mean, September to December?
I think so. It's typically about 4 weeks from start to finish on a brick.
Yeah. I think that'd be kind of a nice thing to come, your brick will be here hopefully by Christmas tree lighting. So I don't know.
Also, it's a great way to add to the crowd. Come see
Yeah.
it finally.
Go
Yeah.
see your brick.
Yeah.
So, nice idea.
Thank you.
Anything else on the memorial pavers that Chris or Stacy or I can answer?
I think that's good.
Well, we'll get after it, as they say, and see what we have for you into either April or May meetings.
Good.
Okay. On to the parade.
Parade.
Oh, boy.
So, Madam Chairs, with your permission, I'll kind of jump into the first topic. Obviously, 2025 is our 30th anniversary, and that was selected as the overall theme back in 2024 by the commission members, knowing that it's a special year for the city of Wildwood. I don't recall, and that's why I'm asking, do we have a parade theme? Is it the 30th anniversary, or is it a component of the 30th anniversary? Or I guess I'm just kind of curious. We've always had multiple themes, one for the overall event and one for the parade. They've not necessarily always corresponded to each other. So again, my question tonight is, do you all want just a single theme this year, which is the 30th anniversary, or do we want something special for the parade?
I like 30th myself.
Yeah, I think it would
It
be special for the parade.
I think it's special for the 30th. I think we should just go with
Yeah.
the one theme.
Well, it seems to we have consensus. Is there any, does anybody have a different opinion? It'd be a great time to express it. We can talk it through. Otherwise, that's what we'll go with.
I think it's also a good time to like encourage people to like be like creative, like celebrate 30. You know what I mean? Like I think that there's like different, you know.
Sure.
It reminds me of the 100 days of school when they're like, it's 100 days of school, celebrate, run with it. So
Yeah.
I think, you know, encouraging people to,
Mhm.
and I don't know
Interesting.
how to give them that feedback of like, what is, you know,
I've tried. I try with council every year. I think that I've joked that Teresa and I are going to run a, since we're getting off council, a consulting
Right.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
So before I leave, I've got another April meeting. I can give like a point of information during the work session and kind of explain that like the commission, if you're okay with it, on behalf of the commission, we're looking for a creative approach. So it's the 30th anniversary, the 30th birthday, you know, run with the joy that you want to inspire. So somebody could do literal birthday party stuff. They could do
Right. Like if
30
there's
things in Wildwood, you know, you could do whatever they want. Yeah. And I will tell them that.
a 1930s theme, an
Yeah,
1830s theme,
that's great. Oh,
you know,
decade for you.
that's right, right. There's a wagon. I don't know. Yeah, just okay. But yeah, I think one theme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've given some good ideas and that got me thinking about maybe something. So yeah, we'll work on that and come back with something in April for you, maybe. I like a lot of the ideas. So maybe
Yeah.
we can offer those as suggestions to our parade participants. If you're looking for your theme for your float, here are some thoughts.
Well, is it also the 100th at the same time for Route 66?
Not yet.
Okay, because
2026.
I was looking at your thing. Yeah.
Is that the next year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, so a single theme this year, but maybe we'll give some suggestions on how people might want to decorate their floats and that being consistent with that thought.
Celebrate 30.
Yep.
Yep.
The next item is the Grand Marshal, our marshals. As you know,
Oh.
last year we had three.
Mhm.
Those were Miss Karen Fox, Mr. Vern Luther, and Miss Jill Von Gruben. All had special places relative to the history of the city or their service to the country and history to the city. The department has prepared for your consideration just a list of suggested options. Um, Please don't feel like you would hurt any of our feelings if none of these are fine. These are just things that we thought of relative to the 30th anniversary, and they include the former mayors of the city, all of
Was
them.
mine. That was I was going to suggest tonight.
Yep. The other are the St. Louis County Police. We've had a number of commanders, a limited number, but a number of them, and they have all done a wonderful job in the opinion of the Department of Planning and Parks. There's
Mhm.
also the first members of the appointed council. They were appointed by the county council and given the charge in the first 7 months to make the city work, which was no small task.
Mhm.
The committee to incorporate, there are still some members of that original group. And then finally, Greg Quinn, who may not be a household name, but he served, I think, 24 years as the county council member for this district, which includes Wildwood. As I mentioned in the description, he also, in the 11th hour before the election, wrote a letter basically saying, if you want to control your destiny and manage land use, you're going to have to vote for the incorporation because one council member out of the 7 can't do the job and save the city. So it was kind of that linchpin moment or watershed moment that I think actually, and if you ask the incorporation committee, they thought actually swayed the vote and won it for Wildwood. So those are just some of them. There's a whole bunch of people out there deserving of such. So I open it up for discussion. Thank you, Madam Chairs.
So I feel like we've been talking about the mayors for the last couple years of like kind of sitting on that for this, but with all of the great people that would be so easy to make a grand marshal, I would like to propose a thought, an idea, if you will. So one, I like the idea of having the mayors be the grand marshal, obviously open discussion, but would it be possible to invite a group of people to be what we would call like the pioneers of Wildwood. So I think about people who were involved in the first master plan, the people who were on the first council. Honestly, anyone who's been on the council, we're only 30 years old. I feel like we're still in our pioneer era. But is there a way that we can one acknowledge the work of the few mayors, but then also the people who have been invested in the birth, development, and success of Wildwood for the last 30 years? And maybe that's a little pin. It doesn't have to be something grandiose or even a spot in the parade, but just a way to acknowledge their contribution.
I had
I
a
like
sort
that.
of a similar thought, but it was partially because I think the more you broaden towards the committee, the more people that is that become marshals, and the more golf carts you have to have. And I in my mind, what I was hearing was that this is really functioning as like a homecoming, like the same way churches have homecomings and schools have homecoming, where you're asking people that are likely still living in the community to show up, but people that maybe moved away to come back and to celebrate with us for this special event. And so we've almost could create a system where we have our court, and then, you know, instead of a king and queen, you have the grand marshals, and then you have other honorees. So give them a flower, give them a pen, give them something else, still read their names, but that way you don't have 20 marshals, because that almost devalues it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stacy's cracking up, but that's kind of the only way to do it. And everybody's invited in the parade. You
Yeah.
put the marshals in the golf cart, and anybody else that wants to show up and walk can.
Right.
And then, you know, and then, but yeah, but it's, yeah, and I know homecoming has a very high school thing, but in my mind, I've seen it in so many other community things or
Yeah.
church things. So to me, that's the way I'm using the word. So we're really asking for people to do that.
I think a homecoming sounds fun.
Yeah, it should have apple butter making at it.
Joe, how many, I
The
know we have
Methodist in
two,
me coming out.
two of the mayors have passed. How many living mayors do we have? Do you have an idea?
Yes, David Glauser was the first mayor appointed by county council. He passed recently in a bicycle accident. So we start with Ron Marcantano. Then it was followed by John Wild, who recently passed as well,
Yes.
just because, as you know, from his illness. And then it's Ed Marshall, Tim Werther, and Jim Bolin. So 4, plus the
Four.
current mayor, obviously.
So we've already got
I think that's a
golf
great
carts
amount.
accounted for in that mix.
That's not too much. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I
I do agree we should invite any past. I guess my feeling is I know I don't want to. Some people are not happy with what we're doing, that we're the original people, and I don't want this to be a platform for them to say things against us. Is that the wrong thing to say? I don't know. I said it, so I'm probably.
No, well, but also if you've ever been to any city council meeting ever, they've made themselves known.
Oh, I've been to them.
Okay.
Same. But I also think that I think that there's one, it's an invitation that they don't have to accept. And so even if it's, listen, I'll sign my name. If we want to extend an invitation, and I think we can say in a heartfelt way, because I think it's genuine, like this is an opportunity to celebrate. And one of the great things about Wildwood is that we are a large but tight-knit community. And so we have the space in the proper channels and venues to discuss where we think that Wildwood could improve, or, you know, we can find a diplomatic way, but this is not the time. Like, if you want to have a conversation when we do the master plan, fill out your survey, but the parade is not one of them. And if people don't accept, then that's okay. But if they do, isn't there like, and go ahead, Lauren.
I was gonna say, I don't know that the invite has to be extended to anybody that's ever been elected. Like if we want to focus on mayors, that's fine. Or if we want to focus on the founding committee, that's fine. Or incorporation or the county councilman. And I say that as an elected official, right? I don't know that we all deserve an extra honor just for one term that may or may not have been contentious, or I'm plus that's a lot of people, because that's
Yeah,
16 potentially every 2 years. So I think, yeah.
So we started with, I think, those who are involved in the master plan, which Karen, some of the people that we were talking about might be in that. So again, I think some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of, there has to be some sort of like social agreement, right? Like if you come to my birthday party, even if you're mad at me, you're gonna sing the song.
Well, I think we invite the mayors to be the grand marshals,
Yeah.
and then I think we could send a letter, an invitation. We'd love for you to come to the 30th anniversary of the city. We don't have to be, if you want to march in the parade, fine. If you want to just come by the city booth, you're welcome. But I don't know if we have to do anything more than that. So.
Well,
I think we could say that we're having a
Might be
group
nice
of,
to do like a group picture with anybody that does show up that was there for incorporation.
yeah.
Mhm.
I like your idea, Lauren, of the like people like behind. I think that's a cool moment. Or my concern is I just always want to keep accessibility and mobility in my mind. And so not everybody can walk the mile in the parade. And so even if it's just a pin to wear that says that you were whatever we want to call it. But one, I think to get the Grand Marshal out of the way, I think that I would like to make a motion that we invite our mayors and then even potentially representative for the two mayors that have since passed to be this year's Grand Marshals.
Actually, I know I grew up with the Wild family in Indianapolis, and Dan Wild, his younger brother, I've kept in contact with, which small world I know, but so. But I think the other person Joe mentioned is kind of an important part of our city history too. I wouldn't mind having him and as a separate person as a grand marshal. Who did you say that the county councilman?
Greg Quinn,
Greg Quinn.
yes. Like I said, he served 6 terms, and the county council is 4-year terms. So he was a county council person out here for 24 years.
Yeah, that's something to be commended.
Yeah.
All right, so I will change. I will update my motion. I would like to make a motion to invite the mayors and a representative for the two mayors that have passed and Dan Quinn to be our grand marshal.
Greg Quinn.
Greg Quinn. Can I get a
If
second?
Mr. Luther's around, can he still ride again this year?
Yeah. He's just into yeah.
If Mr. Luther's around, can he still be
We'll
out there?
always invite him. How's that?
I think we should, because I mean, what is it, 101 or 102 now? On April Fool's Day, no, it was leap year. He was 100, so he'd be 102 now.
I second. I second that motion.
Great. All in favor?
I
I
And then maybe can we put some time next meeting to the idea of how to honor other founders of Wildwood, and maybe we can put some true parameters around it and kind of how we want to operationalize that now that we've kind of brainstormed a little.
Well, maybe they could be the grand marshals next year.
Well, as you know, in the parade, we have a lot of different groups. We have dancers, we have the pom-pom girls or whatever they're called now. My apologies for my age. But I think that could be really something nice. We set aside a space in the parade. You give them the option. If they come, we give them something to wear that designates that they're some a dignitary relative to Wildwood's history. And then they can walk in the parade. They can hand out candy. If they're not able to walk in a parade, maybe we set aside a cart or two. And I just think that's a nice idea. That was a wonderful
Yeah.
thought.
I think you make sashes that say founder,
yeah, or like a
Yeah.
corsage.
first counselor, first council person,
I think the idea is sticking. I think it's we have to pick our guest list.
So,
That's the
so Madam Chair, we'll have it on the agenda for the April meeting.
wonderful. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Moving right along. My next.
Well, in terms of the components of the parade, I've identified all of the participants from last year. For the most part, I didn't go into each of the business names, et cetera, but just know that we've contacted or will contact all of them and invite them back to the parade and try to promote it as, again, it's a special year, 30th anniversary. We expect to have a lot more people and a lot more publicity about the 30th anniversary. So that's in play. And then as we did last year and the year before, we have the table and we'll just keep updating the table as we complete items over the course of the next several months toward the parade. As you can see, we've got the themes now selected. That's completed. We have the location. The contract was signed with Desco Group, which manages Schnucks Wildwood Crossing. And we have the golf carts. I think Stacy did that the day after the 2024 celebration. So that's all in place. And a couple of them, we wait till the last minute, not because we're behind. It's just a lot of that we have to know who's in the parade to set the order and all of those things. So we're pretty good in shape on the parade. And Chris will give you some updated numbers, who's already registered and things like that. So if there's any questions on the parade, the three of us are available to answer them. Thank you. Then
Can I
just-
give a little update for the parade? We have Louis from the Blues mascot.
Oh, cool.
He committed.
Hmm.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, yeah. And then just the other thing is again, as you know, 2026 is the 100th anniversary of Route 66. And in preparation of that, since this will be September, right before the start of the anniversary year, we hope to have the wayfinding sign up on Route 66 and have some additional banners relative to Route 66 announcing the 100th anniversary. So there's a lot of things in motion that we're considering or have planned for that upcoming year. So we'd like to maybe kick that off or at least get people aware of the 100th anniversary if they're not, as part of our Celebrate Wildwood event, which you all endorsed and supported. Just wanted to kind of give you an update. There's still a lot of it in the works. I'll have something more tangible probably at the May meeting as we get closer. We're working through the Historic Preservation Commission as well. So if there's any questions on that, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
What was the actual date? September
20th.
20th.
20th. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Madam Chair, that's all I have on my section. I can turn it over with your permission to Chris to go through the updates.
Let's do. Okay, as you know, our location of the Village Green is still in the process, so once that gets closer to completed, we'll be able to figure out the venue layout. Freaks us out a little bit that it's not closer, but we will get it done. Director Vunich, Stacy, and I had a meeting with J&M Fireworks, kind of just a informal thing. They probably will not be able to do the 30. They tested it, but it didn't work so well. They're not giving up yet, but you know, we'll have to see. He described it all how it works, and it just hasn't fully panned out. But we actually received their bid today, so that is in the works on the contract. Volunteers, we'll do closer to the event. Sponsorships, as we know, that's been out there since January 22nd. We have 8 sponsors to date, with $3,700 committed in sponsorships. So
That's
keep
a great
plugging
start.
along, plugging along on that one too.
So Chris, can I go back to a couple of things?
Yep.
With regards to the fireworks, it appears the best location for them to shoot will be inside community garden. And so Stacy has to break that to the gardeners. Fortunately, it's near the end of the planting season and growing season. And the two gentlemen from J&M Fireworks said, it's great fertilizer. It's potassium. So it'll be a little unusual, but and they can access community garden. We have a paved surface and a wide gate, so it actually works. So kind of funny. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. Bistro lighting, same thing. Once the venue layout is set, we'll be able to figure that one out. And I believe Director Vinich has talked about before how our lighting is going to be neat in the village green anyway. Police services, Officer Fisher is here. I think he's getting everything under control with that. Nothing new in the completed section. We've had that done for quite some time. Parade underway. Director Woodich said we have the Schnucks Desco agreement in place. All good, all done. Principia, we have completely confirmed their participation this year. So
Good.
they are ready to go. Selection of theme, just did that tonight. Parade participants, we are now at 6. We had an additional 2 after we did the memo, and I believe one of them's Lucky Dog Central, and the other one I think is Pond Athletic, if it's not on here. Yes, those are the 2 additional. So I think I always tell the commission Stacy is like a bulldog getting people in that parade. She talks to anybody, she brings up the parade, and we get people that way. So it's awesome. Grand Marshals we just discussed tonight.
Did the Marshall's Arts store close?
No,
Okay, good.
no. Micro Meadows right next to there. I know did,
Oh.
but Premier Martial Arts still good.
Okay.
Okay, food, drink. Okay, so the layout will be determined, but the application has been open for food and drink, artists, authors, government, nonprofits, everything's open. So we are all good to go. At this time, we have 11 food and drink vendors committed. So we're pretty happy with that. Most of them are repeat vendors. I believe they probably all are repeat. I think Chillax he was actually in a few years ago and he did apply again. So Barbecue Society, Lily's Cafe, the Nutty Sisters, Clancy's, Pond Athletic have all filled out their applications. So they are coming in. Contracts are still in process on the bands. I think we actually are in the final stages of those. Juggling Jeff, I think we just finished that one up today, as well as Jolly Jumps. So we're getting much closer on our completed items. Booth commitments. Yes.
Isn't Jolly Jumps doing something special for the kids
Yeah.
this year?
Thank you for saying that. I forget this stuff. Jolly Jumps has a cool thing. It is kind of like a little miniature golf type
Yeah.
thing. I wish I had a picture, and I probably do somewhere on here, but it is a circle with little shoots putting off there. I believe we're actually going to fence that in due to how you hit a little ball along there. So it'll be something extra. So we did do our foam parties, which are extremely popular,
Yep.
and our regular Jolly Jumps items, the bouncy houses and the runs and things like that in there. But yes, the golf little game is something new, extra for the 30th anniversary.
Very
And
good.
like Stacy said, I think she went after Fred Bird too. To try to get Fred Bird here, but we did get, I think, what's his name? It's not Bluey.
Louis.
Louis. Right. Louis. So we're reaching out to try to figure out what's going to make it special this year.
Yeah, Tri-City the city team. I don't know if they have a mascot though.
Right. I mean,
I don't know if
I don't
know.
know if they do or not either.
I don't know. So,
Well, I filled out the form for Fred Bird, so they just haven't gotten back to me yet.
But you know what? St. Louis City does have that really cool cheering section.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't know if you guys have ever been, and it's actually organized. I mean, so
Mhm.
there's chants, so it's possible that we could get a representative or like a staff member. They have a community engagement department at St. Louis City. So
Yeah.
maybe they could come in like their garb and do the drums and like the chants, and that would be kind of fun.
That
Yeah.
would be neat.
Dude.
That would be
Mhm.
really cool. Yeah. or just the whole team and the players. I'd be fine with that too. Yeah, that'd be great.
Set up a field for them to play.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's the same thing. We're MLS quality on our field at Prime Place. That didn't happen. It's perfect. It's a perfect use of it. We'll just move the whole city team here. I love it. It's brilliant. Let's do it.
It's a plan. Okay. Pony rides. I did talk to Pam with Dreams Come True, and she is advised of the date. Booth commitments, authors and artists, were at 10 right now. So I think the regulars, as soon as it opens, we do send out an email to all prior participants, food, authors, artists, government agencies, nonprofits, to let them know we are opening up the registration. So we get the little influx at the beginning when we first send that out. So, and sponsorships, all the letters went out. And we will do a second surge for the sponsorship letters and our city contractors and things like that. We have already done that, but we will do another little surge of requests for sponsorships. What else we got? Marketing items. We did do some social media postings for sponsorships, and our poster, as we know, was approved last month. So we have that ready to go. We haven't put that out anywhere yet, but that is ready to go along with the banners. I think that's all I have. Let's see.
Chris, if I could.
Yep.
If you haven't seen Babaloo's act, he's going to do one at the children's area as part of the 2025 event. It is in kind of that dead time too. And so he's really funny and he does great and the kids love him. So hopefully you'll get over there and be able to see him. It's fun.
He's also in the daytime band. So he's going to go out of costume from the band, and zip on over and do his Babaloo act.
Actually, it's a must.
I'm excited. This is gonna be a whole new Celebrate Wildwood for me, I feel like.
If anyone has any questions for us, we'd be happy to answer them.
Good work.
Agreed. Always.
And Miss Edens, we haven't forgotten about that kind of dead time. We're still trying to figure out a solution there.
I tell you what, I'm gonna have to go over there to one of those line dancing classes. I just know it and see if I can talk to them in person.
Don't feel
I
like
think-
you're not being heard. We're
Oh
just
no, I know. Yeah, it's hard when you can't get people to. Okay, I'll see if I can't go over and ask in person. If that's okay.
just as I think it's one of the items, but it's also a part of the update, the venue. So there is a bit of a time frame associated with all of this. If you weren't aware, the first phase of Village Green also received a grant from the St. Louis County Municipal Park Grant Commission. And in principle, that grant has an 18-month window to relative to completion of the project, which is the end of June. So that's kind of what we've told the contractor, the drop dead date, which for the most part is about 3.5 months from now. Doesn't look like much, but I'll tell you about 50% of the park is done because most of the utilities were part of phase one, other than the overhead electric, which is holding up some of the park improvements. All of the stormwater management, all of the water, all of the conduit, etc., is in place and ready to go. And half of the oval is completed, the concrete portion. We've gotten several deliveries of pavers for the second component of the oval, the exterior. The pavers are to be installed as soon as possible. It's been nothing but a headache, but we're getting closer and closer. And so, as Chris said, once the venue is closer to being complete, we'll go out there and we'll show you how it's been laid out. We started all of this with the acknowledgement that we needed space for 110 by 10 tents and space for the children's area and all of the other items that go along with it. And then in the interior of the oval, that's the seating for the concerts and et cetera. So keep your fingers crossed. We're doing our best we can. It's just it's been a project.
Yeah.
Long project. It's been a lot of years.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good, guys. So next meeting, I guess that's it for us. Looking at the agenda.
Does anyone else have anything, any questions for the staff or just in general, anything that they want to maybe have added to next agenda to have conversations around? Or are we ready to call it a meeting?
I have one thing. Thanks for accommodating the rescheduling. We really do appreciate it. There are a couple of things we needed to get your approval so we can start using them for the purposes of the banners and et cetera. So thank you. That's all.
Wait, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Thanks, Abby. Second.
I will second.
All right. It's all in favor. We're all in favor. Can't object. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Aye.
Alrighty.
Hi,
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank
all.
you.
Bye. Thank you.
thank
Have a
you.
good rest of the week.
You too.
You too.